If you're like me, you definitely want to be talking to your teenagers about current events. We know that it helps them with their mental health, and it helps them process things, and it helps us check in and see how they're doing. So in today's video, we're going to talk about 4 questions that you can ask your teenager today to address the current events that are going on in our world. Hey there, my name is Poulette, and on this channel we are walking alongside parents, helping them to lovingly lead and launch their teenagers. And if you are parenting a teen, I know that parenting is hard, and at times we need a community to be able to do that, to bounce ideas off. If you want to be a part of our community, hit subscribe and you won't miss any of our videos. In today's video, we're talking about 4 questions that you can use in order to have a healthy conversation with your teenager about current events. And make sure you stick around until the end, because I'm going to give you a bonus tip that is going to absolutely skyrocket your conversations to higher levels of conversations with your teenagers, so you're not going to want to miss that. But let's get into the 4 questions. The first question is, what is it that you know about whatever current event it is that you want to talk about? The reality is that our kids actually have a lot of knowledge about what is going on in the world today. As soon as they jump on the internet, they are bombarded with messages, they're bombarded with pictures, they're bombarded with videos of things that are happening. And most of the time, whenever I ask, or my wife asks, hey, what is it that you know about the event? They usually answer with something like, we know a lot. And the reality is they know more than we think that they do, because they're on YouTube, they have friends, they go to public school, they know what's happening. And so it's a good baseline to say, hey, what is it that you actually know about the event? The second question that you should ask your kid is, what is it that you feel about the current event? How do you feel right now about what's going on in our world? What we want to do here is introduce emotion. We want to find out what's going on inside of their bodies, what's going on inside of their heads as they process what they know about the event. This is okay for us to kind of prod even, because sometimes they'll just say, well, I don't know, I don't really know what to feel. And we can come up with those questions like, are you scared, or are you confused, or are you angry, or are you hurt, or are you upset, or are you happy about whatever it is that you are trying to talk about. These things will help us process our emotions, and it's okay for us to talk and to accept those emotions, but we've got to ask, how are you feeling about what you're seeing? How are you feeling about what you're feeling or experiencing in this moment? The third question that I would ask my kids about what's going on in the world is, what do you think about the current event? What do you think about that issue? What do you think about what you just explained to me? You already know something about it, you're feeling something about it, but what do you think? What do you think you should feel? And this is where I, as a Christian father, can begin to point them to the worldview that comes from the Bible. It's where I can point them back to Scripture, because we believe that Scripture tells us exactly how we ought to think about things. It is our guide to the way that we ought to think. And so as I'm asking them these questions, I can ask them, okay, what do you think about how you feel? What do you think about the things that have taken place? What do you think about that? And we can judge, or we can gauge the way that we think based on the Scriptures. So that third question, what do you think about it, gives me opportunity to point back to the way that the Bible teaches me how to think and how to process things. And the fourth question is, how do you respond? What can you do based on what you feel, based on what you think, based on what you know? How do you respond in the proper manner? And so when you start asking those questions about how do you respond, you start getting somewhere as far as growth goes. It's okay to know something is happening. It's okay to feel whenever something is happening. And then you start thinking, and then you start responding and acting. And that is where the growth takes place. That's where we want our kids to be, as we are lovingly leading them, lovingly guiding them through all of the turmoil and all of the things that are going on in the world today. We want them to take action on the things that they believe and the things that they feel, and we want them to change the world with the way that they respond. Okay, there you go. Those are the 4 questions that you can use, but now it is time for the bonus tip. Are you ready? This is going to rocket your conversation with your kids, and it comes right between asking them how they feel about the issue. Here it goes. This is what you can do to rocket, to absolutely launch your conversation. You can also respond with how you feel. I think most of the time as parents, we don't like to respond with the way that we feel about current events. We want to ask questions, we want to talk to our kids, but as soon as you tell them how you feel, guess what you've done? You've created a conversation, you've created empathy instead of creating just a drilling them with question session. It's okay to share your emotion with your kids. It's okay to tell them how you feel as you react and respond to the way that things are going on in our society. Okay, it's time for the question of the day. Which one of these questions that we just talked about is the most difficult for you to ask your kids? Put in the comment below. I would love to hear your responses. If you got value out of this video, please share it with another parent, share the channel with somebody, and make sure you check out these other videos that we've just recently made about how to help you lead and launch and love your kids better. We'll see you over there in those videos. The one that is the most difficult for you to have or to ask, put in the comments. Oh, that's not what I want to say. That's not what I want to say. Is the most difficult for you to